The latest accident that Kim Kardashian had demonstrates that even her medical issues are just as outrageous as her opulent way of life. Kim Kardashian is renowned for her extravagant lifestyle, which is noted for being beautiful and over the top. In the most recent episode of The Kardashians, Kim Kardashian West displayed her horrific injuries, providing viewers with an insider's perspective on the horrifying event that she was involved in as well as the efforts that she took to get back into top form. As well as the bones, Thursday, July 18 was the day when the last episode of the 5th season of The Kardashians, titled Second Chances, was broadcast. Kourtney Kardashian was getting ready for her family's vacation to Australia, while Kim Kardashian and Khloe Kardashian visited a jail as Kim continues to advocate for reforms in the criminal justice system. The viewers were able to get a first-hand look at Kris Jenner's rehabilitation after her hysterectomy. In addition, it is possible that they received a little bit more than they had bargained for when Kim disclosed that she had lately been involved in a peculiar and horrifying accident. It is just a few minutes into the program when Kim is seen heading to a doctor's visit to follow up on her injuries. Kim is confronted by a producer who says, "What happened to your fingers?" "My big sliding door to my bathroom that opens up and you see the whole window in my bathroom. I was shutting it and there was no latch, so you had to pull the inside of the mechanics out. So I pulled them out like this," Kim said as she was strolling down the hallway of a medical place of employment. After that, she switched her attention to the camera and demonstrated that she pulled the mechanism using the index and middle fingers of her left hand. "Normally, I just use my hand to stop it, but there was a time when I pulled it really hard and Saint came in with chips, and I was like, it's 8:30 at night." She acted as if she were yelling, "No chips." Then after that, it went boom, and I was like, "Ah." I literally looked at my hand and fell to the ground, she added. "I was like, ah." I just immediately grabbed the table and got down on my knees because I just saw all of this blood, and it was like my bone was sticking out a little bit, and I was just like, "Get me help." It felt as if I was saying, "I need ice." During a confessional, Kim was heard saying, "Like, I didn't scream, I didn't anything, I was just like, help," she said further. Following the explanation of how she sustained her injuries, Kim also provided viewers with a first-person account of the way in which her fingers were affected as a consequence of the mishap. Immediately before displaying the frightening photographs, a title card displayed the words "ing" graphic images in 3, 2, 1. The pictures that are provided below are not for those who are easily frightened. AGRMMAPERANC. The camera then switches to Kim having a conversation with a receptionist, during which she describes the severity of her injuries. "Two of them, yeah, they're both broken," she says to the receptionist. "It's very unfortunate. Like I literally just couldn't do anything but freeze," the celebrity said in a frank statement. "You can't even describe the pain, but your whole body goes in shock," she said to me. "It was more painful than childbirth," she said in her testimony. "The leg tip broke off, so it's like a floating piece," she says as the camera turns to an X-ray picture showing a floating fragment of bone in her finger. "It's like a floating piece." Then Kim deadpanned, "I know, I wanted to die," and she nodded her head in agreement. In addition to that, he said, "There is a risk that your nail may never grow back." And I responded by saying, "Oh, come on, why don't you try?" She chuckled and made a reference to the previous talk she had with her physician. "I'm going to invent a nail implant," she made the statement. After that, Kim reveals a close-up of her middle finger, which is splinted and wrapped in a little bandage. The producer asks Kim, "Is hyperbaric helping?" When she is not in the case. "The day before yesterday, I worked for 4 hours, but how? Who has time?" A flashback of Kim entering a hyperbaric chamber displayed on the screen as she answered to the question. According to the Mayo Clinic, hyperbaric oxygen treatment is characterized by the practice of breathing pure oxygen in a pressurized environment. One definition of a hyperbaric chamber describes it as a cylindrical tube that increases the amount of oxygen in the blood to treat various medical conditions. Other names for this kind of chamber include a decompression chamber and a recompression chamber. After then, the flashback cuts to Kim sitting in the chamber while wearing an oxygen mask, and then it cuts to her visit with the doctor. "That looks great," a plastic surgeon by the name of Dr. John Lake shouts as he examines Kim's finger. A few days after the event, the splint was removed, and viewers were able to see Kim's damage, which consisted of the top being entirely severed and blood that had dried and become black around it. "You think that looks great?" Kim asks, completely perplexed. When Kim asks, "Is it going to hurt?" he responds, "I do, because a lot of that is just a little bit of dried blood and some oozing." Kim is intrigued by his explanation. "No, not at all," Dr. Lake confirms in response to Kim's inquiry, "Are you sure?" He responds by saying, "That's the good part about peroxide," while wiping up her finger. "I just want to be sure that I will not need this amputated," Kim continues to inquire. In response, he says, "You will not, 100%, as Kim lets out a sigh of relief and smiles at the camera. You know what came to mind? Before displaying a picture of a poster from Saw 2, the sequel to the critically acclaimed horror film, Kim poses the question while holding up her phone. It is shown on the billboard that there are 2 unclean fingers, and the fingernails are cut in half. "That is absolutely fantastic," Dr. Lake responds with a chuckle. While he was doing so, he said, "Listen, I think you dodged a bullet," while wrapping her index and middle fingers together. "It could have been really bad," the 2 individuals said jointly as they joined in. Kim said to the cameras as she was leaving the doctor's office, "I'm not going to be slowed down. I would give you the middle finger, but I don't have one," she said, laughing. "I would give you mine."